not only pastorally, but personally, 90% of the problems that I have faced in my life have not come from what the devil did to me or from what others said about me. The biggest problem that I have over and over again, trying to do what God wants, or the biggest obstacle to God doing what he wants in my life over and over again, seems to be this tricky little thing called my bracelets are catching the screen. Oh, Lord. I'm time for this. Let me try it over here. Yeah, better. Yeah, the biggest problem for me, over and over again, it just happens over and over again, is that I get trapped in what I thought. This is gonna drive me crazy over here. Welcome back, Furtick. Who sabotaged my screen while I was on break? Was it Robert Madu? Did he mess up my screen? Was it Torrin Wells? Who messed up my screen? The biggest obstacle, and somebody shout if you know what I'm talking about when I say that the biggest problem that I seem to have over and over again, it's not necessarily the enemies that I face, but it's what I thought. It's not necessarily what my life is at this moment that's making me sad. It's what I thought my life was going to be at this season. It's not necessarily who I am as a person that makes me insecure. It's what I thought I was supposed to be based on what I saw that other people showed me from who they are. But I didn't see their flaws. And so now I'm comparing my future to somebody whose flaws I have never seen. And now I'm frustrated about where I am, not because of where I am, but because of what I thought. I'm not frustrated because I'm not married at this age. I'm frustrated because I thought I would be. I'm not frustrated because I'm dealing with this situation. I'm frustrated because I didn't have the chance to prepare for it. And over again in my life, the biggest enemy to what God wants to do is what I thought he was going to do. Now I want you to get a time in your mind where you were what I like to call confidently wrong. And I don't know if you can think of one or if you've blocked all of that out. Selective memory. I asked everybody in my family, and if y'all know any way to fix that while I'm not using the screen, that would be awesome. If not, we'll all work around it, and all of the OCD people will ignore that part of the screen that is not supposed to be like that. Now listen, I asked everybody in my family, I said, I need an opening illustration for my new series called That's What I Thought, and I need you to tell me a time when you were so wrong and you were so sure you were right. And everybody in my family said, can't think of one. Everybody in my family, I'll have to get back with you. And none of them got back to me. Which either means they can't remember one time where they were completely wrong and assured that they were completely right, or it means that there's nothing really harder in life than to going back and admitting and remembering when you were wrong. You just hit delete on those times in your life, like don't want to remember them. And the problem with that is then you can't grow from them as you go forward in the future. Now, when we say that Jesus takes away our shame and our sin, that doesn't mean that he wants to cancel out the lessons that we learn from our mistakes. It means that he frees us from the penalty of it and the bondage to it. But it doesn't mean that Jesus wants us to live our lives just to continue to be wrong in all the ways that we were wrong a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And there's almost nothing more difficult than remembering and admitting when you were just so wrong. I had one this week. I have fresh examples of being confidently wrong. I did it at the dinner table. One of our kids said something and I just came back with something. And I didn't listen to the rest of their sentence and I completely missed the spirit of what they were trying to say. Just confidently wrong. Now I have about a 12-hour expiration dosage cycle on the dumb things I do. It takes that long for me to digest my dumb and then apologize. So 12 hours later, I found myself saying, I was so wrong for that. Now that's hard, isn't it? That's hard, isn't it? To say, I was wrong to talk to you like that. I was wrong to assume that about you. I was wrong to judge you like that. I was wrong to put you in that position. I was even to admit dumb things like I was wrong when I said that song sucked. The first time I heard it, I thought it sucked. Now I realize it's a bop and I feel dumb because I like it, but I can't admit I like it because the first time I heard it, I thought it was silly. That actually is a banger. I've been wrong about songs that I've written before. We wrote a song in this church one time and I thought it was good, and then we went to record it, and after the recording, I turned to Holly and I said, well, I thought that song was good, but it's not good. She said, I thought it was pretty good. I said, it wasn't good. You could tell the people didn't like it. The people didn't care about it, and it's not gonna go anywhere. After we recorded, Oh, Come to the Altar. That's how wrong I can be about a song. And I'm glad I was wrong, because it means there might be something else in my life right now that I think sucks, but it's actually gonna be an amazing thing. If I'm wrong about that, then I might be wrong about this. It is the utter relief of realizing that you were wrong and admitting it and growing from it. But the only thing more difficult than remembering when you were wrong and admitting you were wrong, which I know isn't a very good way to start a sermon. None of us want to talk about that. The only thing more difficult than remembering and admitting I was wrong is to realize I am wrong. If it's that hard for everybody in my family and everybody watching this sermon to go back and remember, I was so wrong. How could I have been so wrong to think what I thought, or to say what I said, or to believe what I believed, or to assume what I assumed? The only thing more difficult than remembering it, because it doesn't feel good, is realizing that I am wrong right now. If we don't even want to admit that we were wrong, how much less do we want to realize that we are wrong, or might be wrong, or could possibly be wrong? Just see if you can get it out your mouth. I may be wrong about that. And when you get to that point in your life, you realize that a lot of us in here, we have iPhones. How many of you have iPhones? Hold up your iPhone right here at this part of the sermon. iPhones. I want you to realize that not only do you have iPhones, but you also have thoughts. And it's possible that the devil has you trapped in an I thought right now in your life. An I thought. In the psalm we just read, the psalmist says something so incredibly miraculous and wonderful. He says, God's path led through the sea and his way through the mighty waters, though his footprints were not seen. But to understand the process by which he arrived at that thought, I want to take you all the way back to the beginning of Psalm 77. And journey with me now for a moment while I build this thought out for you. That's what I thought. The psalmist is lamenting here. There are 4 different types of psalms in your Bible. There are psalms of praise, songs of thanksgiving, psalms of wisdom, and psalms of lament. Lament is where they're just telling God their trouble. Lament is where they are being honest with God, realizing that why would you hide it from him? It's not like he didn't see the whole thing. Realizing that you can say something to God and he's big enough to handle your brokenness. This is a psalm of lament, but I want to show you how it goes from a psalm of lament to a psalm of wisdom. And over the course of the next several weeks, I want to help you with your thoughts, because some of your I thoughts are wrong. Some of your I thoughts about people are wrong. Some of your I thoughts about what is still ahead of you in your life are wrong. And you could be confidently wrong, and you can be completely trapped. That's the situation for the psalmist in Psalm 77. It's not David writing this time. It's one of the sons of Asaph, the musical leaders. And he's pouring out his heart to God. He says, I cried out to God for help. I cried out to God to hear me. When I was in distress, circle the word distress, please. I sought the Lord. At night I stretched out untiring hands, and I would not be comforted. I remembered you, God, and I groaned. What a strange thing to say. I thought it was, I remember you, God, and I was grateful. I remember you, God, and I praised. I remembered you, God, and I was encouraged. I remembered you, God, and I rejoiced. He said, it was so bad, I remembered you, and I groaned. The reason Psalm 77 is special and you might want to study it is because a lot of times when they wrote Psalms, they were asking God to deal with external enemies. We've got this giant facing us, this army coming against us, this sickness that we're dealing with, and it was an external enemy. Or in the case of Psalm 51, David is praying about his own sin. He's saying, create in me a clean heart, oh God. I did something horrible and I need you to make me new and I need you to raise me up and I need you to give me a second chance. But this is not a psalm about enemies, and this is not even a psalm about sin. In this psalm, the primary problem for the psalmist is not an external enemy or even his own sin. His problem is God. His problem is God. And more specifically, his problem is, God, where did you go? His problem is, God, when are you going to help me feel something again? God, when are you going to answer this? I'm holding out my arms to you and you seem to be standing at a distance. I'm not even sure you're in the room. I'm not even sure you hear this. And so as he's recounting this, I want you to understand the heaviness of it so that when I encourage you in just a few moments, like I plan to do with God's help, you will understand the place this psalm starts at. He has a problem with God. And when you have a problem with bills, somebody can pay them for you. When you have a problem in your body, you can go to a doctor about that. When you have a problem even in your mind, you can have a therapist for that. But what do you do when your problem is with the one who has no boss? What do you do when your problem is with the one who has no supervisor that you may ask to speak to? What do you do when you're in a situation where what God did is so much different than what you thought he should do? That is Psalm 77. I remembered you, God, and I groaned, not shouted, groaned, not clapped, groaned, not danced, groaned. I remembered you, God, and I groaned. I meditated and my spirit grew faint. People will tell you all the time how much they've grown, but they won't tell you how much they groaned so they could grow into the place where they are today. This is the process of becoming a person that God can use, and it is not easy. He said, my spirit grew faint. You kept my eyes from closing. I was too troubled to speak. And then verse 5 gives us the entire problem, not only with the psalmist, but with ourselves. I thought. Everybody say, I thought. I thought about the former days. Justin, do I even have to say it? Circle I thought. Circle it for everybody in here who's having doubtful thoughts. Circle it for everybody in here who's having fearful thoughts. Circle it for everybody in here who's having jelly thoughts. Jelly thoughts, we're calling them right now. Circle it for everybody in here who is dealing not with an external threat and maybe not even a personal sin, but with a I thought. Now, when I read this at first, you're going to be like, he did the right thing. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what we teach in church, that you're supposed to go back and remember. If you're in a season right now where you don't know what God is going to do, just remember what he did. And that's what it sounds like on the surface. But I want to dig a little bit because I've been waiting 2 months to preach this message and I'm going to preach it today. I thought about the former days when my jeans fit a little looser. I thought about the former days when my hamstrings weren't. So I thought about the former days when I didn't need these readers to look at my Bible and this size 67 font in order to preach it to you. I thought about the former days, the years of long ago. I remembered my songs in the night. My heart meditated and my spirit asked, what's wrong with any of this? It's an I thought. I remembered, verse 6, please, my songs in the night. My heart meditated and my spirit asked. Now watch what happens when it starts with me. Verse 7, this is what you get back. When you send out an I thought, This is what you get back. And you know what? You can't block an I thought. Not with your fingers. You have to deal with it. And the psalmist is putting it all out there for us today, which gives us permission to know that we can feel emotionally confused and still get spiritually strong. Watch what he says. It gets worse before it gets better. Will the Lord reject forever? Will he never show his favor again? Has his unfailing love vanished forever? Has his promise failed for all time? Has God forgotten to be merciful? Has he in anger withheld his compassion? I thought, and that's what came back. And what I heard the psalmist saying today, and I wonder if it's true of you, he says, I thought, I suffered, and I thought, it was through. I thought back over the best days of my life, and I thought they're behind me. I thought about the things that I would love to see God do for me that he's done for others, and I thought, well, I guess he just doesn't want to do it for me. I thought it was through. I thought that my experience of God had completely dried up. I thought he didn't love me anymore. The psalmist said that, I didn't. So if you've ever felt that, you're in the Bible. I thought that God had taken his hand off my life. I thought he had just given up on me because others did. I thought it was through. And you see in this passage what they call the 3 P's of negative thinking. I'm gonna be talking to you over the next 6 weeks about I thought. I'm gonna be talking to you about 3 ways of negative thinking that you may recognize in your life. They're all here in the psalm, and we'll come back to them a few times, but I just want to point them out to you. He says, will the Lord reject forever? Will he never show his favor again? Has his unfailing love vanished forever? I thought it was through. I thought it was gone. I didn't see his footprints in the sand. Y'all ever seen that little poster on the thing? Did you ever see butt prints in the sand? That's another one. You can look that up another time. He says, I felt rejected. I thought it was never gonna come again. Now that's strong, saying never. That's strong when you think that he will never show you favor again. And he said, I thought his love had vanished. And they call these the 3 P's of negative thinking because they're traps. And it's when you take something that happens to you and you make it personal, rejection. It's when you make it permanent, never. And it's when it becomes pervasive, vanished, everywhere. It took everything away. It's completely ripping through your whole life. Because one thing to have a problem and you've got it in a corner, and this is the one thing that I'm dealing with in my life, but you know the enemy has you in an I thought. When it becomes personal, the Lord rejected me. There's something wrong with me. It's fine to be disappointed because somebody didn't want to be your friend. It is another thing to assume that they are worthy to be the Olympic figure skating judge of your life, and then you stop putting yourself out there because you think that somehow they have the stamp of approval to give the human race, and that they know just from their virtue of their own goodness whether or not you're worthy. And now you've got yourself isolated because you took it personal, and there may have been something that they were going through that was so dark that if you would have known that, you would have given them a hug and said, I'll send you a Christmas card. But now you've got it personal, permanent. It's never coming back. It's always going to be this way. It will never change. I'm never going to be able to go a week without doing this. I am never going to find anybody who gets me. It's permanent. It's going to stay this way forever. And it's pervasive. It's when you can't celebrate the kid that's doing good because of the one that you're worried about. It's when you can't celebrate the health in your body because of the hell in your mind. It's because you're in an I thought. He said, I thought it was through. I thought the dream was through. I thought the vision was through. I thought the relation, I thought my joy, I thought my very joy in life was through. It's an I thought. And if you're there today, let's start there. I thought it was through. There are some things in your life that may very well be through. That's why you can't dwell on, I thought about the former days. That's why you can't watch Andy Griffith reruns and wish again for wholesome entertainment and curse this Love Island that this crap these kids are watching and the devil has taken over a generation. This is an I thought. But the Lord, y'all are laughing like y'all been watching it too. I thought it was through. I thought the best days were behind me. I thought, and I want to show you something that's really helped me. It's something that he said in verse 2. And he said, when I was in distress. Everybody say distress. Distress is a normal part of the Christian life, just like it's a normal part of the human experience. Distress in and of itself is not a problem when I was in distress. The promise that God makes is not to protect us from distress. The promise that God makes is not to keep all pressure from coming on our lives. The promise that God makes is not to make sure that he always takes us the long way around any problem. The problem is when the distress becomes despair. There's a difference. Distress is, this hurts, but I have hope. Despair is, this hurts, and I have no hope. Despair is dangerous. Despair is hurt minus hope. Despair is looking at the situation saying, never, vanished, rejection, personal, permanent, pervasive. I thought the psalmist said, not that this is just a difficult season and I got to get through it, because we all have those. Not this is just a bad day and if I can make it till 5 o'clock without cussing anybody out, I can keep bringing home a paycheck and not get kicked out of this house that I'm behind a month on anyway. It's not if I can get through this, it is this all there is? Despair is, it's never going to get better. That's where the devil wants you. It's never going to get better, and you'll always lose your temper. It's never going to get better, and you will always be a failure. It's never going to get better, and you are always going to be too loud, and you are always going to be too quiet, and you are always going to be too short. Did you ever think maybe God made you short so you could fit through little doors? Okay. Now, if this is where the psalmist starts, we have got to do something today to get you out of this. If despair is dangerous and distress isn't dangerous, you can go through a lot of things. You've been through a lot of things. You've put up with a lot of things. Tell your neighbor, I'm tougher than I look. Tell them again, I'm tougher than I look. Don't let my pretty smile fool you. I'm tougher than I look. I'm tougher than I look. I took a licking and kept on ticking. I'm tougher than I look. I'm like a weeble. I wobbled, but I didn't go down. I'm tougher than I look. I've had some challenges to my faith. I've had some questions about God. I'm still here praising. In fact, that's my 2-word testimony. When I can't think of anything else to praise him for, still here. Somebody shout, still here. In a funk, still here. Down in it, still here. Wondering about it, still here. Pieces and... So what you've got to do, child of God, is never allow distress, which is temporary, to become despair, which says forever.
God's epic family. Yeah. God's epic family. Woo!